Are the Buffalo Bills probing for problems with Gabe Davis? Clearly, we could see that Gabe Davis has enough size, he's got enough speed, he's got good enough hands to get the job done, but ultimately, what are the deficiencies of Gabe Davis? Taking a look at these recent statements on X about Gabe Davis across the NFL, you could see, I hope Gabe Davis leaves Buffalo and gets to showcase his talent to the world. We need to digest that for a second. And really, the first problem I want to talk about with Gabe Davis is the fact that Josh Allen and Gabe Davis were not always on the same page. Countless times, especially last year in 2023, Gabe Davis and Josh Allen were not connecting. Gabe Davis was not in the right spot, or either Josh Allen threw the ball in the wrong place. And that's just not something you want to see from a wide receiver that's been here with Josh Allen for 4 years. Now, yes, maybe it was Josh Allen's fault. Maybe Josh Allen didn't read Gabe Davis's body language. And we heard that with Josh Allen several times, that Dalton Kincaid, as a rookie, he had a great feel for his body and where he was going. But for whatever reason, whether it was Gabe Davis not running the right route in those option routes, complicated option routes under Ken Dorsey and Brian Daboll, that could very well be a change that Joe Brady brings here to the Buffalo Bills, simplifying things for Gabe Davis, who even specifically said that in one of his press conferences during the season when Ken Dorsey was still here, about simplifying things. And obviously, Gabe Davis was having a hard time with a complex scheme. So knowing that Gabe Davis lacks the mental ability, it's not so much the physical skill sets, not problem with his size, with his speed, with his ability to catch. It was more so the mental aspect of the game. So the question really arises here, what will Joe Brady do in the Buffalo Bills? Now, we do have a new passing game coordinator and quarterback coach, and I think Joe Brady's going to put his own flair and spin on things, which could be even simplifying things offensively, which should help Gabe Davis. That said, we have players like Khalil Shakir, you have players like Stephon Diggs, and at times, yes, maybe they weren't on the same page. Maybe Josh Allen threw it deep and Diggs broke off the route and stayed underneath. So there's obviously some miscommunication that occurs during games. And Gabe Davis, being here for 4 years, I think he started to run out of excuses. But maybe the Buffalo Bills understand how complex our scheme was, and they do reconsider bringing him back to Bills Mafia in 2024. This statement talks about the amount of money that Gabe Davis could potentially earn, wondering if Gabe Davis gets a shocking amount of money in free agency. It should be interesting to see, and if he doesn't, I think that would actually get him back to Bills Mafia potentially, similar to what we saw with Jordan Poyer. He didn't get the price that he wanted, and he ends up coming back to Buffalo. Other teams are interested in Gabe Davis, including this Cleveland Browns fan saying the Browns should decide to take a swing on wide receiver free agent Gabe Davis because he's a great fit and they need another big play wide receiver. Clearly, Gabe Davis definitely presents a big play ability for any NFL team, but the facts are he wasn't always on the same page. And we could see this comment here, watching a good old Buffalo Bills game. I'm sure nothing haunting happens after this fourth Gabe Davis touchdown. So clearly Gabe Davis, 13 seconds game, 4 receiving touchdowns, an NFL record in the playoffs. Just shows you the potential of Gabe Davis and what he's fully capable of. Jordan says here that Gabe Davis would be a nice upgrade at wide receiver 3 for the Jaguars, offering size and a vertical threat. Probing for these problems with Gabe Davis, really understanding his overall deficiencies. It's not that he lacks size, that he lacks speed. It's not that he's not a good enough route runner. I mean, at times he dropped the ball, but every receiver drops it, just like we saw Stephon Diggs drop that crucial deep ball in the playoffs versus Kansas City. It really boils down to the mental aspect of Gabe Davis. And I know that Sean McDermott, Brandon Beane, they put a lot on our coaches to get these wide receivers up to speed. They trust that our wide receivers and our coaches are going to get up to speed based on the overall coaching ability that we have. So I really believe that the mental aspect of Gabe Davis will just continuously improve throughout his NFL career. Now, will the Buffalo Bills be willing to gamble on that, on Gabe Davis, and pay him a premium? I don't think they will. So it really does boil down to how much Gabe Davis is going to get in free agency, and it's going to boil down to the willingness of Gabe Davis wanting to come back here, especially after some of those fans were bickering at him after that game versus Kansas City. The other benefit is that Gabe Davis can hit the ground running in 2024. He knows Joe Brady. He knows this scheme. He knows Josh Allen. If we bring in rookies or even Odell Beckham or another free agent wide receiver, there's going to be that transitional period in the season for them to be firing on all cylinders. In this past year in 2023, we learned that each and every single game is so important. I mean, our backs were up against the wall. We had to win 5 of 5 in the last remaining games of the season, and sure enough, remarkably, we finish as the second overall seed. Really, the goal here is to become the number 1 seed in the AFC, to get ahead of those Kansas City Chiefs, to have a bye week in the playoffs, to heal up, to get healthy, to prep and prepare. And we've seen it. Sean McDermott is literally undefeated coming off a bye week. The question does arise with other wide receivers, even Josh Allen during the Super Bowl interview, saying that Khalil Shakir is always where he needs to be. There's no miscommunications there. Josh Allen can read his body language very, very well. And I think he's doing that with Dalton Kincaid. I really didn't see any missed throws or miscommunication between Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid. So that is a trusted target. And yes, we didn't have a lot of targets to Gabe Davis, and I think that could very well be because of it. Josh Allen had a harder time either reading his body language or just didn't trust his mental aspect of understanding a complicated scheme that was produced by Brian Daboll, passed on to Ken Dorsey, and then taken over by Joe Brady. And don't forget, I mentioned that Joe Brady could very well implement a more simplified offensive scheme, which should help the value and help Gabe Davis become the best version of himself. But it really does boil down to that price. What will the Buffalo Bills be willing to pay? We're not going to be getting into a bidding war for Gabe Davis. Well, I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like and subscribe for future content. That's how you're going to support me to keeping this channel alive and making videos just like this. Also, check the link in the description. I've partnered with Course Careers. That's how I got my full-time employment. They're offering high-paying salaries starting out fully remote at $70,000. You guys, it is a proctored exam. They have partnered with employers. They will literally reach out to you immediately after graduating. So clicking the link below, you guys could get $50 off the free introduction course. But I truly appreciate you guys all so much. You all mean the absolute world to me. This is going to be a great offseason here. Free agency approaching, filling those holes. And then we have the NFL draft. Appreciate you. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.